Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. I just spent 2 nights at the brand new Lala Limpopo Sleepout Hide here in magical Mashatu Game Reserve, and you can go and watch that video by following the link in the video description after you've watched this one. In this video, however, I'm going to introduce you to Mashatu's new exclusive use safari homes, Colo Colo and Shalimpo, that were recently added to their already impressive portfolio of camps. We're going to be spending 1 night here at Colo Colo and then 2 nights at Shalimpo. But before we do anything else, let me take you for a quick tour through Colo Colo. Colo Colo is a luxurious 5-star safari home situated on the banks of the Limpopo River. It's an exclusive use camp that can accommodate up to 8 guests in 4 comfortable rooms, each with an ensuite bathroom, located on either side of a spacious lounge and dining room, making it the perfect camp for a group of friends or family. A stunning wraparound veranda overlooks a sprawling lawn and lush garden, and there's also a swimming pool overlooking the riverbed. After returning from our second night at the Lala Limpopo Sleepout Hide, we enjoyed a delicious lunch under an enormous Mashatu tree in Colo Colo's garden, and by 3 o'clock we were ready for our first game drive of the trip, which would be on our own private open safari vehicle. As a start, our guide Tips decided to drive through the dense vegetation along the Limpopo River, a decision that paid off almost immediately. Oh wow! Yo, what a great way to start the drive, elephants dust bathing. Not long after, our tracker Stan spotted something in the dirt below us. So we've got some beautiful fresh lion tracks here next to the vehicle, and it looks like some females with cubs walked all along the river, and they might be hiding up in this tall grass and thickets along it. We carefully searched the area surrounding the tracks, but had no luck in finding the lions. So Tips decided to head towards Majali Island, where another pride of lions had been spotted that morning. We drove some stunning tracks through beautiful scenery, and it was such a privilege to share this with my friends Kathan, Anna and Jurgens, who had never seen this area before. Around 4:15, we bumped into 3 very sleepy lions. So these are not actually the lions we found tracks for earlier in the drive. It's actually the Majali Island pride that uses the central area of Mashatu, and they're actually very close to the island itself. And we found 2 females and a big male, and apparently there are 3 cubs around as well somewhere. It's calling the cubs. The mother is up and she's busy calling the cubs, so we think she's got them stashed in one of these bushes around here. Listen to that. Our suspicions were right, and a couple of minutes later she appeared from the thickets with her 3 little cubs. Unbelievable. That's what you call good timing. The most amazing thing is we haven't seen a single other vehicle this afternoon. It's just been us following fresh lion tracks, albeit two different prides, and just seeing those cubs come out to greet their mother. How special. So from here we're going to head further upstream along the Majali River and see maybe we get lucky and find a leopard. We also checked the croton thickets in the central area, as well as plenty of large Mashatu trees and apple leaf groves. But eventually we headed back into the Majali River, where we knew we stood the best chance of spotting a leopard, which is exactly what happened just before sunset. I'm not 100% sure, Hans. I think you might be right. That really has been the most incredible first game drive from Colo Colo. First lions with cubs, and now a leopard here in the Majali River. And I tell you what, you just have to drive along this river for a few kilometers and you're bound to find a leopard, especially late afternoon when they love lying either on the bank or down in the sand below. And just when we thought things couldn't get any better, we were called to where a young male leopard was resting in the branches of a Mashatu tree. After taking a couple of photos of him in the last bit of available light, we briefly stopped on a koppie to celebrate before heading back to Colo Colo, where we enjoyed yet another scrumptious meal as well as an African serenade under the stars. We were ready to head out again at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Morning.
But not before grabbing some coffee and something to eat on the veranda.
Thanks, Dan. They've got beautiful shapes, eh?
So yesterday afternoon we were looking for lions and leopards specifically, but this morning we've decided to come to these open areas to look for cheetah. And if we're not lucky with that, we'll go back to where we left the lions yesterday afternoon. For just over an hour, we crisscrossed all the open plains northwest of Colo Colo, driving along the ridges for some elevation and stopping on the vantage points to scan the surroundings. And then, this is just unbelievable, we were searching all these open areas to the northwest of Colo Colo for cheetahs, because cheetah tracks were found here yesterday morning. And just when we were about to give up and head to where there's some mating lions close by, and I spotted the cheetahs on a low ridge, and it's a mother with 4 little cubs, and they're lying right out in the open. Check, check, check. Wow, that was one of the best cheetah sightings I have ever had. Just to have the whole family lie close together out in the open on a little rise, which meant we could photograph them at eye level. So special. And we've actually had lions roaring in the background as well, and that means that every now and again they all lift their heads and look in the same direction. And that just makes for extra special photos. They're roaring right now. We followed up on the roaring lions and found 2 females resting on the bank of the Majali River. But because they were fast asleep, we decided to carry on with our drive. So as you saw, those lionesses were lying in quite a difficult spot to photograph on the bank of the river. And then as we sat there, a call came in that someone had spotted a leopard in a Mashatu tree close by. So we've come here with the hope that we've got a slightly better view than we had of Limpopo yesterday afternoon. Let's have a look. It was an adult female and she was lying in the open and in better light, giving us an opportunity to get much better photos than what we had gotten of the male the previous evening. Once again, we had reason to celebrate our game drive, and this time we did so with a coffee stop under a Mashatu tree. Wow, yet again Mashatu delivers. To think that we only had 2 game drives from Colo Colo and we saw lions, leopards and cheetahs. And that's actually one thing that I really like about Colo Colo. It's got a really nice location, not only because of that beautiful drive along the Limpopo River that you can do early morning or late afternoon, but also the fact that it's the only camp that allows you to do game drives in all 3 of Mashatu's main game viewing areas. You can head west along the Limpopo and drive between the sandstone rocks of Tuli Safari Lodge Mashatu. You can come here to the central area where the big cats are super relaxed, and then you can also head east to those big open plains on Charter where we saw the cheetahs this morning. So in terms of location, Colo Colo is certainly one of the best. Thank you. Thanks so much, Benny. Sure, that feels good there. Our 24 hours at Colo Colo passed very quickly, so it's time to go and shower and pack up, and then next we go to Shalimpo. Right, so all my bags are packed and we're just going to have some brunch before we head out to Shalimpo. But to kill some time, I was paging through these beautiful coffee table books here in the lounge at Colo Colo just for some inspiration. Some of them have some beautiful photographs taken here at Mashatu. And this book, Mashatu Land of Giants by Roger and Pat de la Harpe, is actually about Mashatu. And it basically has some awesome information about the history of Mashatu and tons of beautiful wildlife photographs. And then I saw that you can actually order the book online. So I'll make sure to add a link in the video description if you guys want to get it as well. Knowing that we're going to have to cater for ourselves at Shalimpo, we savored our final brunch at Colo Colo, which was served right next to the river. Unfortunately, that means it's our time to go, but we'll see you at Shalimpo. The transfer from Colo Colo to Shalimpo, which is located on the far eastern tip of Mashatu, took less than half an hour. And before we knew it, we were driving up the koppie on top of which this little camp is built.
That's some driveway.
Welcome to Shalimpo, guys! This rustic yet comfortable self-catering safari home overlooks the confluence of the Shashi and Limpopo rivers, after which it was named, and it can accommodate up to 8 people in 4 bedrooms, with 2 being en suite and 2 sharing a bathroom. It has a large farm-style kitchen with small dining table, gas oven and stovetop, as well as a fridge and a freezer. The inside lounge and dining room opens to an outside dining table on the one side and a covered outside lounge on the other, next to which you'll find a braai area, a lawn with an amazing view, and a swimming pool. The water here is drinkable straight from the taps, and the camp has free Wi-Fi. Yo, this Shalimpo Safari Home is so stunning. I love this elevated position. I also love the fact that it's got a swimming pool. Whew, man, it's hot. Oh, haha. Oh, man, that is so nice. After my swim, I took a quick walk to admire the view from camp that overlooks the confluence of the 2 rivers, a place that we had decided was worth visiting that afternoon. We just got here to the Limpopo River, and down on the other side are some monstrous crocodiles. Tips, our guide, says they're small, so you can just imagine how big they get. And funnily enough, on the other side, we've got some donkeys grazing. We've been hearing the bells all afternoon. So this is quite a unique area where Mashatu Game Reserve borders not only South Africa, where there's Mapungubwe National Park, but also Zimbabwe, where there's some communal land. So this livestock all comes from the Zimbabwean side, and because there's water and a bit of grazing here, they come over. To me personally, it's part of the whole vibe here. It's just a multiple land use. Apparently the donkeys do get chased back, and I'm pretty sure every now and again lion takes them as well. This really is a very special corner, not only of Mashatu and Botswana, but of Africa, a place where man and their livestock share the life-giving water of the rivers with the region's wildlife. This really is so unique. We've got giraffe, and right next to them a big herd of cattle that's come down to drink in the Limpopo River. And I know some of you might think that this is not really wild, but for me, this is the Africa that I dream of, one where people and their livestock can coexist with the wildlife, and where we don't need fences to keep things in and out. And for me, it's absolutely amazing. I love the sound of the cowbells. I love the giraffe and the cows just walking right in between each other. And what you also have to remember, this is the only water around for probably miles and miles. So these poor cows, if they didn't come here, they might actually starve because they just don't have water. So yeah, I think it's an unbelievable scene and definitely something worth experiencing. On the southern side here is Mapungubwe National Park in South Africa. We can actually see the walkway on the other side. We're obviously in Mashatu Game Reserve, and all this cattle has come through from the Zimbabwean side where there's a community. And all these animals here coexist in this just wonderful, weird, unique place. From there we drove further east next to the sandy Limpopo riverbed, skirting beautiful rocky ridges and driving alongside and underneath some of the most breathtaking riverine forest imaginable, consisting of colossal leadwood, mashatu and apple leaf trees, all the way to the very tip of the island.
Oh my goodness, this is beautiful.
Tips offered to take us for a short walk where we could view the confluence of the Shashi and Limpopo rivers from above. It's so nice actually to be out on foot. We're on the smaller portion of Shalimpo Island where South Africa, Zimbabwe and Botswana come together. And we're walking up to the top of the rocks where the Botswana flag stands proudly. So let's go and see what the view looks like from up there. Yo! Wow! This is the most unbelievable view. Despite the unforgettable lion, leopard and cheetah sightings we had had earlier, this view was the most spectacular thing we had seen all week. It was an almost spiritual experience watching the Limpopo River snake its way through the sand while the sun's golden rays bounced off the surrounding sandstone ridges, with ancient baobab trees standing guard in the distance and the Botswana flag waving above us. I'm sure everyone behind me will agree that coming up here and enjoying this view was one of the highlights of our trip so far. We're going to head back down and enjoy some Sundowners. Hey Cathan, how was that, eh?
Unreal. One of the best moments of my life. Absolutely magic.
We stopped to have our Sundowners in the Shashi riverbed and watched as one herd of cattle after the other made their way back home to Zimbabwe for the night after having quenched their thirst along the Limpopo. Interestingly enough, a large herd of elephants were also making their way across the Shashi River into Zimbabwe, reminding us that the lack of fences here not only make it possible for livestock to drink in Mashatu during the drought, but also for wildlife to forage in Zimbabwe and South Africa when food is scarce. We're not even 5 minutes from camp and we found this massive herd of elephants and they've completely surrounded the car. While we were watching the elephants, a call came in that the same leopard female we had seen the previous morning had been found nearby. So we rushed over there to see where she was. Luckily for us, she was lying out in the open on a massive branch, happy to be photographed from any and every angle. If you'd like to learn how to take better animal portraits, I cover it in detail in my best-selling online course called Wildlife Photography for Beginners and Amateurs, which is hosted on udemy.com. In 40 short and concise video lectures, I cover everything from equipment, settings and light, to composition, creativity and animal behavior. And remember, there's a 30-day full money-back guarantee if you're not happy with the course content. To enroll, simply follow the link at the top of the video description. We couldn't have asked for a more memorable morning than this one. With full memory cards and rather empty bellies, we returned to Shalimpo to download all our amazing elephant and leopard photos and to grab a bite. And speaking about food, Shalimpo is the only one of Mashatu's commercial lodges that's self-catering. So if you're wondering how to organize food, especially if you're from South Africa and you're a little bit worried about things that you may not take across the border, you can make use of Mashatu's own food delivery system. So if you make a booking here at Shalimpo, they will send you a list to choose from, and that includes meats, drinks, fruit and veg, dairy, you name it, it's on that list. And then you'll obviously pay for the food itself, and then there's also a delivery fee involved. But it just means that when you get here to Shalimpo, all your food and drink will already be here. And just so you know, your stay at Shalimpo also includes 2 game drives a day and the services of one of Mashatu's excellent guides. Our guide Tips had one mission in mind for our last afternoon game drive from Shalimpo: to find a herd of elephants crossing the Limpopo River. As we scanned the banks, we found some more Zimbabwean donkeys and some of the biggest crocodiles I'd ever seen in my life. And then Tip spotted a herd of elephants making their way towards the river. We've spotted a herd and they're making their way down to this little gully. There are few scenes as quintessentially African as a herd of elephants walking in single file, and in that moment it took our breath away. It's actually remarkable to think how much we had experienced in Mashatu in just 5 days. From thirsty spotted hyenas and blackback jackals keeping us awake at night at the Lala Limpopo Sleepout Hide, to unforgettable moments with elephants walking, drinking, feeding and dust bathing all around us. And who can forget the lazy leopards, the protective cheetah mother, and those cute little lion cubbies that played right next to our vehicle. And then there were the people.
You don't know it, but you're on camera.
the friendly Mashatu staff who not only enjoy their jobs, but who goes out of their way to make your stay as comfortable and memorable as possible.
Hello everybody! How's it going?
Thank you for looking after us so well. A massive thank you also to all of my patrons, the people from all over the world who support the Safari Expert YouTube channel by making a small monthly donation in return for rewards like early access to my videos and mentions in my video, like Simon Wakenshaw, one of my Pangolin tier patrons. If you'd like to learn more, go and check out the link that I've left at the top of the video description, together with a link to Mashatu Game Reserve, where you can learn more about Kolokolo and Shalimpo Safari Homes. My goal in 2025 is to reach 50,000 subscribers. So if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe now and click the little bell icon so that YouTube can notify you when my next video goes live. Until next time,